The president managed in the span of 2 paragraphs to be condescending as a matter of race and insulting as a matter of gender. Here we have a veteran African-American reporter who's covered the White House, who is categorically respected. And he says to her that, first he acts like he's not aware of the Congressional Black Caucus, which is the oldest such caucus on the Hill. And then he says, well, he hasn't met with them, but he'd like for April Ryan, a journalist, to be his scheduler and secretary. She is a veteran journalist. That is insulting, both as a matter of race and as a matter of gender. And so, is he saying that with respect to other caucuses on the Hill? Is he saying that with respect to the male journalists? This is ridiculous, but it is a metaphor for the president's views on race, generally speaking.
The network that she works for, that April Ryan works for, advertises itself as the only African-American owned radio station. In other words, it's all about being African-American. So in that context, he asked the question. This is the problem here. I mean, I used to think the Congressional Black Caucus, when it was first formed, was a good thing. I've changed my mind on this. I don't think there should be any caucuses in the House of Representatives that are divided by race. I mean, heaven forbid, if David Duke got elected and wanted to form a Congressional White Caucus, that would just be appalling. Appalling. Okay. This is where we get into a problem, and it's got to stop.
Cornell?
Sir, Jeffrey, I'm looking for a word here beyond, it's completely preposterous to compare the Klan to the Congressional Black Caucus. The Congressional Black Caucus it's not a matter of dividing by race. It is a matter of affirming racial justice issues.
White Caucus?
Beg your pardon?
You would be okay with a Congressional White Caucus? Really?
I didn't say that. What I would be comfortable with is a caucus aligned around issues, a caucus aligned around advancing the concerns of groups that are frequently locked out of the process. That's how the Congressional Black Caucus came into being. And frankly, sir, you should apologize for even putting the Klan and the Congressional Black Caucus in the same sentence.
No, don't go there. That's not what I said.
It's not a matter of going there, it's a matter of having heard that.
What I'm saying to you is there's no room in the United States Congress for caucuses that are divided by race, no matter the race.
But sir,
there's no place for it. It's
sir, let's get back to what the president said. The president didn't seem to recognize the oldest such caucus on the Hill. The president then speaks to a veteran journalist and suggests that she schedule a meeting. I'm not entirely sure if he is aware that the network that she represents is African-American owned, and that, frankly, is beside the point. Her job is to cover the news. Her job is not to act as an emissary or messenger or scheduler for the President of the United States.
Jeffrey, the only thing she has in common with people in the Congressional Black Caucus is that she's black. So, I mean, it's essentially, isn't it saying, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, he's asking one of the few African-American people in the room if she knows the people on the Congressional Black Caucus and can therefore she make a call and set up a meeting. It just seemed odd,
this is exactly where we get off track all the time. I mean, she is a reporter. She is a journalist, period, full stop.
So it's her job to call up the Congressional Black Caucus and set up a meeting for the President of the United States?
No, of course it isn't. But it's her network's job not to advertise itself as African-American owned.
What does that have to do with the President of the United States and what he said?
How many
this is the ultimate distraction.
It is total distraction, Jeffrey.
Come on. Who she works for says nothing, I should say, who she works for does not in any way undercut the fact that she is a journalist.
She's a good journalist.
She's a good journalist, and therefore she should be afforded the respect of a journalist.
The president didn't know what the CBC was. Do you think he knew what network April Ryan works for?
I honestly don't know. I mean, at this point, he's doubtless getting to know the White House press corps. I don't know.
Okay.